The Babolat Jet Mach 2 is one of the most surprising shoes I've tested in 2020. I think a lot of it has to do with its outward appearance, but today during the teardown we'll get to see what's really under the hood. Here we go. Now just starting with the laces, these actually are quite a bit flimsy and these will fray pretty quick, so you might want to check out the best shoelaces for tennis video and maybe replace these if you're going to go with this shoe. Now the most important part of any upper of any tennis shoe is the heel counter. It really has to be stiff and stout. Now cutting through this one, it is definitely more stout than say the Nike Vapor Cage 4s. It's actually a little bit harder to get my instrument, my knife, through here, which is a great sign. The more I struggle, the better you're going to be on court. If you look here, you have the interior heel counter, that plastic piece there. Then you also have this outrigger that's actually coming here, which is actually really hard to get my knife through. So you're going to get a lot of nice stability in the ankle and in the heel from this setup here. The tongues on the Babolat Jet Mach 2 actually pretty padded here. Not as much as you'll see on some other more maximalist shoes, but the tongue actually does have some pretty decent padding, which I'll show you right here. Now, a big thing I'm interested in is how this woven material is going to resist my knife, but actually goes right through it. So this might not be as durable as we think it is to the Dremel test, but we'll find out here in a few minutes once we get to it. And let's just free up the insole here. It's an ortholite insole, really not a lot of crazy padding, really nothing special here, but not terrible. And so before we cut the right shoe completely in half, let's finish our upper dissection and durability test. I have to say, my knife is getting through the upper a lot easier than I would hoped, and as I suspected, a plastic reinforcement is really the only thing that's caused my knife any resistance whatsoever during the upper dissection. It's relatively been a pretty easy upper to get off. I'd dare say one of the easiest ones that I've taken off all year. Now the upper of the Jet Mach 2s is a one-piece woven upper made of Kevlar. Now Babolat claims that keeps it pretty resistant to wear while also keeping the shoe really light. Now I will give him this, the shoe is incredibly light and it does move through the air real quick. But let's see how this Kevlar does to the Dremel test. And actually if you look here, and this really lives up to its billing, you can kind of start to see the Kevlar fibers exposed, but to my knife it actually cut through pretty easily. However, to abrasion, what this would equal out is when you're sliding on a hard court, this is really going to resist wear really great. I mean, I did not expect this whatsoever, so this shoe does keep surprising here in the uppers for sure. Interestingly enough, the reinforcement, you are getting 1 millimeter of damage on the Dremel test. That is pretty much in line with most other reinforcements on the medial side of tennis shoes. Still though, pretty good for a very, very light shoe. So moving into the last of this shoe, you do have some inflaring, but it is very, very slight. One of the big reasons why this shoe is actually able to accommodate a lot of foot types, because number one, even though the shoe isn't super wide, the uppers are really accommodating and the last is a little bit straighter than some others. So you will be able to fit even a pretty wide foot into this shoe, even if you do have to go up 1/2 size. Now, one thing that did concern me when looking at the shoes from the outside is this shank. From the outside, it actually looks a little bit flimsy, not real strong. So when we cut open the right shoe, we're gonna see exactly just how stout this shank really is. And if you look here, this shank is actually not very strong. I was actually able to cut through it relatively easily, and I'm able to bend it actually with not a lot of resistance. So in terms of the long-term stability of the midsole of this shoe, I'd actually say this shank is going to break down a lot quicker than some others. So I wouldn't necessarily count on this shoe as a real durable shoe in terms of support on your arch. And remember, this is an EVA midsole, but what's interesting is the more dense EVA is actually in the heel, contrary to some other shoes like the A6 Gel Resolution, the Adidas Sole Court Boost, where the heel padding is actually a lot spongier. In this shoe, it's the opposite. You have the real dense EVA in the heel, and then that moderate density here, and then ultra dense here on the shank. Now, even though there is ultra dense material here underneath the shank, it's still not enough to make this shoe a real durable mid-soled shoe, but I really like the idea of giving you more support in the heel versus something ultra cushioned. I think it's actually going to give you more performance, especially when trying to make quick steps. And it looks like we've got a 2.0 centimeter heel height and only a 0.6 centimeter be able to toe drop. This shoe actually does not have a lot of drop to it. You get a lot of material here in the forefoot, and you also get quite a bit of material here in the rear foot. So the shoe is actually going to be pretty good for somebody suffering with heel pain or even ball of foot pain in a new shoe. Remember, that doesn't mean that this shoe isn't going to bottom out later. However, for a new shoe, someone with heel pain or ball of foot pain, this one actually going to be a pretty good pickup for you. Now our tread thickness is 3.0 centimeters. Now this is not the thickest tread you'll ever see. However, they do tout that it is a Michelin brand tread, so that they should resist wear at a smaller tread thickness. So let's see if it lives up to it. All right, so with the Dremel test, 10 seconds highest grit sandpaper, 1 millimeter of damage, just as good as any other shoe with a 6-month durability guarantee. Now remember, the treads are a little bit thinner than some other shoes, say like the Nike Vapor Cage 4s. However, these are quite a bit lighter, so you're getting the same durability here in the outsole with a lot less bulk. So overall, pretty impressed with the outsole. So I really think this Teardown produced a tale of two shoes. When you first take it out of the box, you're going to get an easy break-in, really nice, light, breezy feeling on court, and the midsole is going to give you a lot of support as well as a lot of pop on serves and split step. However, this shoe is going to tend to bottom out faster than others in the midsole as well as in the shank. So if you're looking for a shoe with the ultimate in stability, this probably isn't going to be your shoe. However, if you are just looking for raw speed and pop in the midsole, this is a great pickup as long as you're willing to replace them sooner than others. So I hope this gave you some insight on the Jet Mach 2. Make sure you look out this week for more playtest teardowns and head-to-heads, and I'll see you next time.